Now, the topic is somewhere between Trump and Mother's Day.
Yeah, it was like, just the most depressing Mother's Day post one could imagine. And it's tied to Trump's smashing victory in the Indiana primary nearly a week ago. So what got me started on this post was, I'm from Indiana, and so I'm familiar with all of the crap that's gone through the last several decades. As auto manufacturers and auto parts makers, they're shifting to overseas and moving to the Sun Belt because there are no labor unions here and the labor's a lot cheaper. So
when Trump says people are screwing you over and I'm going to make it great again, they feel that is true. There's some truth to people screwing you over.
That's the thing. And, I got to thinking about this post because I was having coffee with a friend of mine last week, right before the Indiana primary, and it was clear to me he had no idea what de-industrialization is, what it feels like, what it looks like. This guy's from Arizona. So, I figured, okay, people in Texas have to know kind of what is fueling a big part of Donald Trump's base. And if you haven't lived through kind of the poop storm of, job losses that the Midwest has experienced, you're not really going to get it. So that's really the idea behind the post. I kind of pick up with my grandmother, who was, classic New Deal Democrats. She was heavily involved in Democratic politics, didn't have a college education. She was a stay-at-home mom. She did some kind of freelance bookkeeping for the United Auto Workers Union. Just classic Democrat. But very strong, and she passed away in late in Bill Clinton's first term as president, right at the point that the Democratic Party was starting to really screw over the middle classes. So, I kind of pick it up from there. The idea being that with everything that Muncie, Indiana, my hometown, was experiencing and everything she was witnessing and kind of going through in her own life, she would have been a very happy Donald Trump voter. She would have been a strong supporter.
So what I appreciate about your post is the theme of the media over the past 6 months. The media to blame for the rise of Trump, and people who say that, like the David Brooks from New York Times, is like, I've never met a Trump voter, which is true for me also. And his beating himself up is like, I got to go out and meet Trump voters. But it is true, nobody who writes for a living, who uses words and takes truth seriously, knows a Trump voter. So I appreciated that you actually say, hey, my grandmother probably would have been a Trump voter, and there's a lot of us, or there's a lot of
I'm not a Trump voter.
Okay, I'm not accusing you of that. No, you're a person who cares about words, so I don't think you could be a Trump voter. But just the idea that people who write for a living generally cannot put themselves in the mindset of somebody who would vote for Trump. So you're like, well, actually, I understand my grandmother a little bit. Anxious, downwardly mobile, white person. I would call vaguely racist, maybe, as you write.
I mean, there's no bones about it.
You had kind of an Obama moment where my grandmother might have been a bit of a racist, which I really appreciate in Obama's book. You talked about that.
Well, I mean, and that's, anybody who's talking about their grandparents in India at that age, I mean, there's, chances are good.
If you're not acknowledging the racism, you're not being part of it.
There's a little bit of racism.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. This is a person who cares about words, who says, I can understand why somebody would vote for Trump, or somebody even I care about would vote for Trump, which is even rarer.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, thank you very much. Now it's